up? It's Fun Night Friday. You have to bear with me a little bit. We got lawnmowers going again. Every time I sit down and try and make a video out in the garage, there's all kinds of noise. So today for Fun Night Friday, I have a couple things going on. First, I have some knives in the kiln. I have 4 knives in here. They're heating up, and then I'm going to finish the heat treat. I have a bucket of oil down here. That's a couple more of the small EDC pocket knives that I've shown recently in a couple of videos. I have a few more of those in here, plus modified kukri. But the knife I actually want to talk about today is this one, which you've also seen the heat treat of this in a recent video. This is another small EDC pocket knife, and this knife has just been incredible. I ordered a knife from William Collins, and it's a similar grind to this. Take a look and you can see it has a secondary grind in here that's a little bit different, and you have a point here followed by the rest of your blade. Now if you look, it's kind of a spear point, but it's a little bit more of a Warren Cliff style blade than what William Collins makes. Okay, so what this is going to do is allow me to do my normal utility cuts very easily. This edge here is also a continuous curve. Now this will go down on the cutting board. You can, cut up your food and do food processing with this knife without your hand being in the way, and without the end of the knife having to be overhanging the counter or the table that you're working on. This knife just excels at everything that I've done with it. Any kind of utility. This notch here is perfect for skinning wire, any kind of utility work, food prep, carving, just everything that I've done with it. I've been carrying this knife now for about a week. I put burlap micarta scales on it. Those are brass pins. You can see this is 5/32 of an inch thick 01 tool steel. I did a full flat grind on it to reduce the thickness. I actually wanted to make this out of 1/8 inch, but I had the right size piece of 5/32, so I drilled out the handle to lighten it, and then, like I said, I did the full flat on here, and then this edge down here is all somewhere between 12 and 13 degrees per side. So you have a pretty much a Scandi, roughly the same bevel as what's on the Scandi edge, but it's very thin. It comes down in this section here. It comes down to the flat grind, then you have a little bit of convex where it rounds down, then you have your flat 13-degree edge. I'm pretty sure it's about 13, and it's the same angle all the way through. So this knife comes from the designs of, like I said, from William Collins. I ordered the knife, and it's going to take about 3 months, so I didn't want to wait that long, so I made my own version of it. This is a little different shape than what he has. I customized this for my everyday carry needs, and I also put my handle on it, my handle design. It fits my hand absolutely perfectly, comes flush with the end of my hand. It's comfortable in any grip. You can do your chest lever grip. Today I've been messing around while I'm waiting for the kiln to get up to temperature and the knives to soak at the temperature I'm heat treating them at. I've been messing around with a little tri-stick, just doing a little bit of carving, and I was just working on doing this hole through the stick, this little rectangular notch in there. So, and then as I go, I'm stripping a little bit of bark. Got a nice sharp spine on here, as you can see. It just shreds stuff. What I may do with this, look on the knife there. What I may do with this is, in the areas where I push on the spine with my finger, I think I'm going to dull it and leave it in this area, leave it sharp, so you have an area where you can scrape on, but then you have an area where if you're working on something and you're pushing in, that's pretty sharp, and that'll tear up your thumb after a while. You can feel that. That'll get your so many different grips available with this thing. No, I'm not being unsafe here, cutting towards myself. That's okay. Notice how I'm holding the knife what's going to happen, the back of my hand is going to hit me before the knife gets into me. Even if this was to slip, I'm not going to get cut. And I'm not applying a lot of force when I'm doing that either, so any slip is going to be small. But always plan for what happens when the knife slips, because it is going to slip from time to time. So if you don't feel safe doing something like that, don't copy me, don't do it. You just have to spend time carving with the knife and to get the feel of it and know what you can do and what you can't do. But this knife has just been a dream to use. It's a dream to carve with. That tip is nice and fine. It gets in there. Like I said, it gets right in here. And I was able to make this hole through the stick with it and pop that wood out inside. It's just fun to sit here and just carve on a stick and make some different notches and do some different things. And maybe I'll try carving a spoon later. So for Fun Knife Friday, this so far, I'm going to say, is the best small fixed blade. It's a pocket EDC knife that I have ever carried in my life. I just love this knife. So I've also been working on handles for small knives for a long time. I started making knives as a hobby about 8 years ago, and that's what it is. It's a hobby for me. It's a pretty serious hobby. I had a rather extensive fixed blade collection, but I sold them all, and I used that money to purchase the equipment that I needed to make knives. So I got my kiln, and I got my grinder, and a few other supplies, different weights of oil to quench knives in, because different steels work better in different oils. Some steels have, like 1095 has to be quenched really quick, so I use a really fast oil, and 01 you get a little bit more time with, so I use a medium oil. So I also have aluminum plates that I do plate quenching with. Okay, do A2, I plate quench it. I've done CPM 154, and there's a couple different heat treats that you can do for CPM 154. The recommended heat treat is to plate quench it and then do a cryo. Well, I don't have any equipment for doing cryo treatments, so what I found, what I can do with CPM 154, it results in a lot of cleanup. When you do plate quench, you wrap the knives in a foil and you seal it so it's airtight, so air doesn't get at the steel as it's heated up, because it's heated up very hot. And you'll have a lot of pitting and a lot of, yep, I'm up to the first temperature. Let me stop that beeping. Now these blades are gonna have to sit here and soak for about 20 minutes. Okay, where was I at? Yeah, you seal the knives up in foil, you wrap it in foil, and then you fold it over and crease it really hard a couple times so that it's airtight. Then you heat it up and you take it out, you put it between the aluminum plates, and then I stand on it and I blow compressed air in the gap. So that's how I do the plate quenching, and that works great for A2. The A in A2 stands for air cool. Now for CPM 154, if you plate quench, you don't get the steel to full hardness. You have to do the cryo in order to get the hardness up. But a workaround for it is to just do an oil quench at a much faster speed. And you come up with within a half a point of hardness of the same thing as if you would have done the plate quench in the cryo. So that is an alternative, and that's how I've worked with CPM 154 in the past. Going forward, I do want to get into some cryo treatment. I'm looking into liquid nitrogen, and if I can source it locally, I don't mind buying the container. The container is going to cost $300-400 for the, what's it? I think it's called a doer. It's a special container that holds liquid nitrogen. But it's going to be, if I can get it locally, I'm going to take a ride probably next week to a local welding supply and see what kind of stuff that they offer. Another thing that you can do is with a CO2 tank, you just need a cone on the end, and you can open the valve, crack the valve, and it'll make dry ice. So it'll be kind of like a powder, and you mix a little bit of kerosene with it, so you have like a slurry, and then you can throw the knives in that. That's another way. That'll get you to about minus 100 degrees. So it's not as good as liquid nitrogen, but it'll get you, for most steels, it'll get you where you need to be in the cryo treatment, and then you wouldn't have to do the liquid nitrogen. I'd rather do liquid nitrogen, but it's all going to depend on what I can source, what I can find here locally, and what the prices are. I don't want to go too crazy, because this is a hobby. I don't mind spending money on it, but I'm not going to just waste money and do it needlessly. I'd like to work with a few steels, like AEBL, Crewware, and MagnaCut. Those are the three main steels that I want to start messing with next. And I can't really do that without the cryo treatment. Those steels need the cryo treatment. And I would rather plate quench them because there's too much sanding that you have to do after heat treat to clean up a knife. The surface gets all messed up and all pitted and everything, especially at the higher temperatures that you have to do your more modern super steels at. So a plate quench in a sealed foil envelope, followed by a cryo treatment, and then after that, temper the knives. That's going to be the way to work with these steels. But I'll let you know what happens as I check on what materials are available and what my options are for doing a cryo treatment. I'm still doing the research. So that'll be it for this Fun Knife Friday. Just figured I'd share a few of the things that I've been doing, and knives are a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun with them and really enjoy them. It's a great hobby, and I find it's an even better hobby when you get into modifying knives and making your own knives. Then it really becomes fun because you can actually get the knife that you want. You can work on different designs. You can customize them so they fit your hand perfectly. You can develop blade shapes that work exactly as you do. And that's where the fun is.